All right, it's Friday and time to wrap up the first week of 2012 with a look at the car world on Autoweek TV. In a minute, we'll update you on how our long-term Mazda 5 minivan is holding up after 6 months in the Autoweek fleet. But first, here's some car news. General Motors said on Thursday that it will add some structural bracing and a coolant overflow sensor to the 12,000 volts it has already built and all future volts. The changes are designed to prevent the possibility of a battery fire in the Volt after a side impact crash. A Volt caught fire last spring after being crash tested by the government, 3 weeks after the crash test. GM says the crash test caused a small leak in the battery cooling system. When the crash test car was also put through a slow roll test, some of the coolant spilled onto a circuit board on top of the battery pack. 3 weeks later, that created a short circuit that sparked a fire because the battery pack had not been discharged. GM says dealers will start making fixes to Volts in February, but it won't stop selling the hybrid sedan, which it says is completely safe. No similar fires have been reported by customers. Well, at least one of your wishes is going to come true. Chrysler will add a diesel engine option to the Jeep Grand Cherokee for 2013. It's been 4 years since you get a diesel in the Grand Cherokee here in the States. Its return will have a big impact on the SUV's fuel economy numbers. Chrysler is also adding a third shift to the Detroit assembly plant that builds the Grand Cherokee and the Dodge Durango. That shift will get going next year. Alright, by a margin of just 2,700 vehicles, BMW topped Mercedes-Benz to capture the luxury car sales crown in the US last year. Both car makers waited nearly a day after the rest of the industry reported sales numbers to reveal their totals, looking to count every sale. And BMW and Mercedes poured on the sales incentives in December to try and take the win. BMW put an end to Lexus' 11-year run as the top luxury brand in the US. Last year's earthquake and tsunami in Japan put a big crimp in the supply of Lexus cars to dealers. Alright, we've been living with the latest version of the Mazda 5 minivan for 6 months. So what do we think? Ride along with me, Natalie Neff, to find out.
Hey, I'm Senior Road Test Editor Natalie Neff here with Associate Editor Jake Lingeman, and we are driving around in our long-term Mazda 5 as we celebrate its 6 months in our stead. This is a second quarter update.
It's a 2012 model. A lot of the interior stuff, but no navigation. We have no other options besides just the Grand Touring trim, correct?
Right. I think we've got a rear bumper guard, and I think that's the only thing that got tacked on. It was like $50. So just under $25,000.
So just under $25,000. So, I mean, relatively cheap for a minivan, way under some of the Town & Countries and Odysseys that we've seen out there. 7 seats? Right? 7 seats?
I have 6 passenger.
6 passenger.
We got 4 captain's chairs and a way back seat.
And the way back is pretty small, not for full-size adults.
Well, this is a minivan.
Right.
It's not exactly on par with your Town & Countries or Honda Odysseys but that's why I love this vehicle. I mean, the packaging to me is so perfect because if it were up to me, I would not be in a giant SUV or crossover or whatever. I mean, I prefer being in smaller, more compact vehicles anyway. Yeah. And there's so much utility in this thing. I mean, I took this out to a Home Depot run last week, and you know, it works perfectly for that. So
yeah, we had with the seat folded down in the back. There's plenty of space in here, and I believe the captain's chairs also fold down, so you have a nice long flat area. I went with the girlfriend to a party, and we had full set blown up beach balls, hula hoops, like a speaker system, all types of stuff. And the best part was that it's so big that you didn't have to, you know, Tetris everything in there. It could just be thrown in and just go, you know.
Right. No, and it's a decent driver too. I mean, it's not the most powerful vehicle out there. It's got a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine putting out about 157 horsepower, 163 pound-feet of torque. But I mean, it goes okay. Yeah,
it goes completely fine. It's not annoyingly slow, which would be your main concern. And I mean, the gas mileage is great too. We're getting about 25 miles to the gallon, which is more than what the EPA says.
Absolutely. I think EPA combined is 24 miles per gallon, and like you said, for 6 months now, we have averaged exactly 25 miles per gallon. And in the last quarter, actually, almost 26. So our gas mileage is improving.
And a lot of the complaints that we heard this quarter were because of some of the plastics, the hard plastic on the dash and everywhere else. And, you know, the interior is less expensive looking, but it's a less expensive minivan by a good amount. So we think it's perfectly acceptable to have a little bit less expensive materials on the inside.
So yeah, we have another 6 months with this thing. We are very much looking forward to spending hopefully as many miles as we have so far, because we're on pace for over 20,000 miles, which is pretty good.
Yeah, that's good.
When you maintain a fleet like we do. So hopefully we will be maintenance free on it as well and come into no other emergencies with it. So there you have it, the 6-month second quarter update on our 2012 long-term Mazda 5. I'm Natalie Neff with
Jake Lehman.
Enjoy the drive.
Thanks, Natalie. Okay, the Detroit Auto Show gets going Sunday night, but we'll start a bit early at 6 p.m. Eastern on Autoweek.com with all the details of the new Cadillac ATS sedan, so click in to check it out. We'll be reporting from the floor of the Auto Show for the early part of next week. You won't want to miss it. Have a great weekend and enjoy the drive.
Thanks for watching today's edition of Autoweek TV. Be sure to catch all the latest car enthusiast news on Autoweek.com, in Autoweek magazine, and in Autoweek's iPad edition.